Okay, part 3. My husband called in while I was videoing and it just automatically dropped us out. So we're going for part 3 of Super Saturday. I was talking about the power of 3, and I was talking about getting your 3 ambassadors, those 3 that will be at least purchasing the triplex at wholesale price. Okay, so the next step after you get those 3 is to encourage those 3 to find their 3. And the way you can encourage this is, number 1, you can, even if they're not interested in selling, you can explain that this is going to help get their products paid for. 3 friends that they can tell about this. Now let me tell you why this is so effective. It was really cool. At the convention, I was in a group of about 800 people, and the lady that was speaking, she chose 3 people out of the group as her, basically, you know, as an example of her 3 ambassadors. And then she told those 3 people to touch 3 other people and then have all of those stand up. And so you could see that just her 3 people had now multiplied, right? Well, then she said, okay, now I want those 3 people to touch 3 people, and those 3 people to touch 3 people, and so on. And what was really cool was literally within seconds, and after everyone was touched, they had them stand up. Literally within seconds, this wave of all these people standing up occurred, and it became explosive. Like, all 800 people were standing up within just a matter of a minute's time. It was incredible as the 3 multiplied. So that's the way we need to think here. Think in small steps. Yes, you want to think big, but think also your small goals first. Get your 3 people. That is very, very important. And once you have 3 people, then encourage them to get their 3 people. Okay, and then, let's see. 2 more things that I had. Triple E. Victor Antonio talked about the triple E. Empathize, educate, and empower. When you are working with people, when you're talking to people, you're not being salesy. You are not a salesman here. You are coming along with people and you're sharing, and you need to empathize with them. Be a listener. Don't be one that comes and does what they call the plexus vomit. Don't just come and talk a mile a minute all about plexus and all about what you love. Listen to them. Find out what their needs are. How can you come alongside them and help them? And empathize with them. Then educate them. So after you found that area that maybe you can help meet their need, then is the time to educate them in how you can help them on what the products could do for them, or what the financial side of the company could do for them. That's when you educate, and then empower them, which means help them to see that they need this product. Help them to see, you know, following up is, a lot of people will be all gung-ho, oh, I should really think about this, and then life goes on and it becomes, you know, gets on the back burner. You need to be the one that reminds them how much they need this, and how taking that first step and jumping in is going to be, Lord willing, a blessing for them. And that will help them. And so those were the 3 E's he mentioned. And then the last thing was that really stuck with me was be a torpedo. And he'll be able to explain this better in the video, and I really do want you to watch it. But his analogy was this torpedo, and this torpedo is released from the submarine and trying to hit a specific target. And so as it is coming down from the submarine into the ocean, it starts this sonar pinging, and it starts watching for things around it that might be its target. So as it's going around and with sonar, it's pinging off of objects. And when it comes to an object that it thinks might possibly be what it's looking for, it'll zoom in and look for it and say, okay, it'll zoom in, is this what I want? And then if it's not what it wants, it zooms back out and keeps looking, and so on. So let's say, for instance, it's going down and it finds a rock like a rock bed, a rock wall. And it's looking for this target, and it finds the rock wall, and so it pings it and it zooms in on it and it says, nope, that's a rock wall, that's not what I'm looking for. And then it zooms back out and it keeps its search. Well, the interesting thing is the torpedo itself is learning as it goes and keeping that information in its computer system. so that once it finds that rock, then when there's another one that comes around a different rock, they recognize it and say, ah, I'm not zooming in on that because I recognize that's not my target, that's a rock. And so on. So it actually learns as it goes. It learns what it's looking for. And it does not have to keep pinging every little thing. Okay, so that really hit home to me because my 1-year Plexus anniversary is coming up the 30th of this month. And there are some things that I have learned that I wish I'd known at the beginning, but you can't know those things until you try it for yourself. And so there are things I have done that now I would never do again. There are mistakes I've made along the way, but those mistakes are growing pains, and that's normal. And those are the things that make us, like the torpedoes, say, I recognize that, I'm not going to do that again. Or different types of people. There are certain people you might talk to and they are never going to be open to what you are wanting to share with them, and that's okay. And we have to learn to non-emotionally be able to move on and not find our happiness or identity wrapped up in whether they're accepting us or not with what we're trying to tell them about Plexus. No, we have to be okay with the fact that it's not for them, and that's okay. And we're learning along the way. And one of the things that Plexus ambassadors will talk about is the personal growth that comes with this company. And it's really true, because I have found myself in tears and undone over a response from someone, and I have to realize it's been for me a good learning situation to realize that I can't base my emotions on somebody else's responses. And you know what? That is something that extends to all of our lives. There was one other thing I wanted to share that it popped into my mind. Oh, what was it? Hopefully it'll come back. So look at it as a learning curve and be able to move on. Oh, that was what popped in. That's what it was. The other thing that's real important is remember your why. If you've not ever written down your why, or actually like in your mind figured out what your why is, you need to do that. And here's the reason. It is an up and down roller coaster sometimes. I have had times where I am just like, I am so pumped. And I'm like, I'm so excited. I'm going to be in Maui next year. I am just praying that if the Lord's pleased, He'll bless this. And I'm just thrilled and I'm flying high. And then the next day I can be completely in the dumps and thinking, why am I doing this? Maybe I should give this up. Maybe it's not for me. Maybe it's not worth it. And this up and down and up and down. Those are the times we have to hang on to our why. What is your why? Why did you start sharing Plexus? And that why can change over time. And that's okay too. And sometimes the why can change to one thing and then over time change to another and then go back to the original. But what is that why? Or what is that list of whys? For me, one of my whys, a big why for me when I started was I wanted to reach other moms that were like me. I was on the couch. I couldn't get off the couch. I was a mess. And I want to find other moms like that I can give some help and hope to. Just like Jen gave to me. The Lord brought this into my life. And so I want to help others that the Lord might want to bless through it as well. A second why now for me has become on the financial end. I would love to have this grow to the point where down the road, my husband is getting older. You know, maybe he could even retire on this. I don't know what God has in store. God may have me not be doing Plexus next year, or we may be doing Plexus in 15 years. I don't know what God has in store, but I know for today what my why is. And I know that I'm going to be content with the months that are encouragingly successful and the months where I'm discouraged. I'm going to hang on to that why, and I'm going to trust the Lord. And so that's what I would encourage y'all to do. When you get discouraged, remember your why. Is it still there? Do you still believe that why? Has your why changed? But hold on to your why. I think that's about it. Yeah, I would just encourage you again, find Victor Antonio's, he's hilarious. He is hilarious. And so, watch him. He's very entertaining and got some amazingly great, tips. One other thing, which I did post, maybe you saw this on Facebook, a status, but, something that I've been thinking about is I've been amazed at how many of these tips, how many of the personal growth things, how many of these practical how-tos we've been given can apply to sharing the gospel. And that is what's most important. Health will do nothing if we do not have Christ. Giving others health will do nothing. Actually, we're not giving others health. The Lord is giving them health. But encouraging them in the means that God can use for the health. That's important. But remember, our souls and the souls of those we love are most important. And so let's use some of these things in spreading the gospel, in remembering that one thing needful, and in focusing not just on the body, but on the soul, and the personal growth that can come along the way for us as well. All right, team, I love you, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye.